Okay, so I thought I would make a quick video to provide a visual reference on my workflow, and I'll make a few videos to kind of walk you through things on how I do things. But first I'll show you the flow that I use to import my images from my SD card onto my computer, so that you know how to do that without deleting anything or without creating extra files and having extra space being taken on your computer. So what I have up right now is my Lightroom, and it popped up with a random session that I worked on recently. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the top here, and these two first options, Library and Develop, are your most important and most used in Lightroom. And we're going to make sure that we're clicked on Library to begin with. And then we're going to go down here to Import, and we're going to start the process from there. On my computer right now, mine's already, I have my SD card in, so it defaults to SD card. But if you have images on your computer that you want to import, then you can select a different source to import from. But for now, I'm using my SD card, so I'm going to click EOS Digital, which is what the name pops up for my SD card. On this memory card is 2 shoots, so I'm going to go down to the images that I want to work with today. So we're going to go down past this shoot and start at this image here, which starts the shoot that I want to work on. And using my Shift key and the arrow keys, holding down the Shift key and then just using the arrow keys, I'm going to highlight all those images from that session and press the space bar. And so that adds a little check mark right there to show that all those images that I want are selected. Then on the right side here, I'm going to add my keywords in, which will add their name, Fisher. This was College Hill Park. We're going to just do park. And if I type baby, family, autumn, fall, since sometimes I use autumn, sometimes you use fall, and how about 2017? That's good enough. Now on my computer I have all my client folders or all my client files in a folder named 2017, and then obviously after the new year I'll start a new one that's 2018. That also helps me with cataloging. So I'll start to 2017, and I'm going to name this Fisher 2. I've already actually uploaded this already and started working on it, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to call it Fisher 2 so I can start from scratch so you can kind of see my flow. So Fisher 2 is going into 2017. It's going to make a whole new folder right there. All my images are selected. I have my keywords in for cataloging. You do not have to catalog. It is not mandatory. You can skip over that. There are lots of shoots that are in my files that I do not have cataloged, but it's a good practice to get into if you're just starting out. It's something really nice to have to do. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to go down here in the right hand corner and click import, and it's going to start importing all of those images off of my SD card. And while it's doing that, you can see that there's a progress bar up here. The images will start appearing here, and they'll just work their way down as they start uploading. And you can see all my other files from many other clients over here for this year are all over there. You can see like this client here, Combs, they actually had 2 sessions that are on this computer, so they'll have like subfolders. Anderson has, well, Emily has 2 folders or subfolders because there was multiple sessions. So you'll see you can do that too. So you can put a folder in a folder when you're uploading if you have more than one session for that family. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Fisher 2. And we're still working on uploading, so wait for it here. Okay, and we're just about done with all the uploading. You can see them kind of building up here. And that's about it. So it's going to disappear here. Alright, and then we're going to come over here and click on Develop, and that gives us now the option to start editing. So I'm not going to edit any images in this video, I'm just going to show you how I start my workflow. So now all my images are down here at the very bottom, every single one of them that I just uploaded. And the very first thing that I do before I do any editing at all is I start going one by one through every image. This typically is a pretty quick process for me. If you can look at the image and you see something wrong with it immediately, obviously that's probably not going to be something that you're going to work on or waste your time editing or trying to doctor. So I'm going to use the right arrow key for one finger on the right arrow key, one finger on the number 1 button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the number 1 button to add a 1-star rating to the images that I like, that I can just offhand, I'm like, that's a successful image, I'm going to give it a 1-star rating. This one here, not a 1-star rating. I don't like how I cut off her feet. Baby's face is kind of plain. And everything else looks good, I just don't like how it's cropped. So I'm going to skip over that one. Same thing here, looks like mom's hand's getting ready to move, so we'll skip over that one. But this one here is a successful image, so I'm going to hit 1 to set the rating to 1. And go on to the next one. Again, mom's hand is moving, so we'll skip it. Skip that one. Her face, she's talking, so skip that one. But this one looks good. It's a successful image. Everybody's looking. Everyone's eyes are open. Cropping is decent. On to the next. Decent. This one is really cute. She's looking right at me. If you click on it, you can zoom in and make sure that sometimes I can't tell if it's completely in focus. So I'll zoom in and make sure that it is focused. And make sure that's a sharp image before I move on. And I just go through the images like this, adding 1 ratings to all my successful images that I like. You can see she's not looking here, so I skip over that one. She's looking there. So you can tell that there's a difference between this one and this one. She's not really looking here, and her feet are all out, so we skip that one. Her face in this one, and you can see, if I even zoom in even closer, it's not a sharp image. This one was blurry, so I was probably laughing when I took the image. So oops, I didn't mean to do that. So we skip over that one, and do not give that one a 1 rating. This one, she's blurry, so we'll skip. That one looks good. Aren't they cute? Okay, so these ones are going to be a little bit different, and I'll explain why. So this baby is 8 months old, and she's already standing or pulling herself to a standing position. So I couldn't, for the safety of her, let her dad move too far away from her. So let's see here. So sorry, I didn't want dad too far away from her for her safety. So some of the images I'm just concentrating on her, but I have him on this side, on the left side of the screen, and then if I go a couple images down, you'll start to see him on the right. And what I did there is because I pushed him on the left side, and I knew that if I had him on some on the left and some on the right, I could piece those walls together in Photoshop and create a successful image. Sorry, Amelia is in the background. Okay, sorry. So there's some images with him on the left, some images with him on the right, and then I knew that I could Photoshop those images together and be able to create a successful image without him in it, and not have to crop all the way in on her. So I focused on her and just moved him around and try not to move the camera too much, so that way I knew that I had pretty good control over that. So I'll just piece those together later on. So going back over here, to start selecting these. So that's a good one there. She is so cute. These are so cute. And these are mostly, yeah, all of these are pretty successful. And just adding 1 stars to the ones that I'm like, oh, I really like that one. So going through these, she's looking at daddy a lot through these, so these are just a little bit more easier. And I'll rotate these once I'm ready to start editing them, but for now I'm just kind of picking and choosing which ones I look good. And Now when I go through and I really start editing, I will not use all the ones I'm selecting now. Look at all that drool on her chin. Because she doesn't need, 15 photos that are, of the same pose. I'm just right now going through and finding the ones that are successful that I can work with or start working with, and then I can edit it down and narrow them down from there. I gave that a 1 rating, but when I go back and I look, it's just not sharp. Like the focus is obviously not on her face. You can see there's quite some blur there. I think the focus is probably somewhere down in here. So maybe go back over here because I don't have any of these selected yet. Ooh, there's a little boogie in there. Alright. Keep going. And I'm gonna, went too far. Pick out the images I like here. And if you click one on one image, you can give it a 1-star rating and then you change your mind, because I saw her eyes and they pretty much look almost closed. I know she's going to nitpick that. Then I go back and I click 0 just to 0 those stars out. I know that I can edit these slobber marks off of her arm. So let's just keep going. Oh my goodness, you're so cute. I'm going to take that one back out. And so the edit, these ones here, she's in the middle, so mom's pretty far over. So I know when I'm ready to edit, then I can just kind of scoop in and really come in close on them and get a better, more even image like that. So we're going to click one on those. She's so cute. Okay. So we're going to pretend that I'm done going through all of these images and I've selected the ones I want and that I like and that are successful. When I have all the images that are successful rated out with the 1-star, I can come down here and I can click on the first star, the 1-star, and it'll sort all of those successful images out for me. So now I have just the images that I know are good enough to start editing. And see, now if I go down here, I have quite a few of these down here that are I have too many. I don't need them all. And I'm going to start, 0 on this one because, look, I've got a way cuter face here on these other ones. So I'm going to start weaning these out and getting a better idea of what I want and just kind of narrowing those down because they don't need 3 pictures of the same pose. You know what I mean? So start narrowing those down. And once I have all the images narrowed down and starred, then I just start at the end and I start editing. And that's how I import and really start my process before I even get to editing any images. So I hope that helped, and there'll be more tutorials to help you out in the future. Thanks!